Welcome back everyone. So in the last video we solved is object empty, and in this video we are going to solve chunk array. Okay, so we are given an array and a chunk size. Return a chunked array. So a chunked array contains the original elements in array but consists of subarray, each of the length size. The length of the last subarray may be less than size if array.length is not evenly divisible by size. You may assume the array is the output of json.parse, which means the array is a valid JSON object. So okay, in other words, it's a valid JSON. Now please solve it without using lodash chunk function. Okay, so let's say this, we are given a size of 1, so we have to chunk this array into chunks of size 1. So for example, the main array will contain arrays of size 1. Okay, so all the elements are converted to array. Let's see second example. So we have to create a chunk of size 3. So this will be the first chunk and this will be the second chunk. Similarly, let's say third example, we have a chunk of size n, but the size of the array itself is 2, 4 and 5. So we'll return a nested array of size 5. Okay. In the last example, array is empty, so the result will also be empty. So one thing is sure, we have to create a parent array that will store all the chunks. So constant chunks. Now what we have to create is chunk of size n. So now let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and the chunk size is, let's say, 3. Now the chunks that we are going to make is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and let's say 7, 8 and we'll remove the last 9. Okay, now this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I say that if I reminder by chunk size, that is 3, so if it is 0, so in this case index is 0, 0 reminder 3 is 0, we will create a new chunk. And if the index reminder 3 is 1, okay, so here it is 3, 0, 1, 2, so index is 2 here. Okay, index is 2 and index is 3 here, so here it will be 3 reminder 3 is also 0. So in all those cases we'll create a new chunk. Okay, so let's see here. So we'll create a for loop, let I is 0 and it will run until size, not size, array dot size. Okay, and I plus plus. Now if I reminder size is equal to 0, then what we will do is we'll create a new chunk. Okay, and let's say previous chunk is this. Okay, and so if size is 0, okay, if the reminder with the index I is 0, then we'll create a new chunk. We have created a new chunk. Okay, here we'll see if the previous chunk has some length, then we will push this inside chunks dot push previous chunks. Okay, else what we'll do is we'll push this value inside previous chunk, so that is arr at I. Now after completing this, we simply push the previous chunk inside this. Okay, I'll tell you why we are doing this. So we'll push that. Now let's say array is empty. Okay, then in that case we'll only return single array, not nested array. So here we can check if array dot length, if there is no length, we will simply return this. Okay, we created chunks. So first let's see if this works or not, then I'll explain you. Okay, so solution got rejected. Okay, so if the reminder with index I is 0, we'll see if the previous chunk has some length, then we'll push this previous chunk inside the chunks, and we'll create a fresh new chunk. Okay. When you create a new fresh chunk, you'll also push the value inside it. Okay. The reason being we are not returning chunks. It should be array.length. Okay, so all the test case has been passed. Now we'll try to submit this. Okay, so our solution got accepted, and now let's see how this works. So first we'll see array is empty, we'll return empty array, else it creates a chunks array. Okay, now this is a previous chunk. Now we'll iterate over each value in this array. If index reminder this size is 0. Okay, so let's see here, chunk size is 3. So this is index 0 and reminder with 3 is 0, which means we will have to create a new chunk. So we have initialized this previous chunk with empty array. Okay, so and also we'll push this value. Then we'll go to 2. So reminder is not 0, we'll push reminder is not 0. So every time we are pushing, doesn't matter if the reminder is 0 or not. Reminder 0 only tells us that this is the start of new chunk. Okay, so this is start of new chunk. Also push this value, okay, and push this value. Then at 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, the index is 3. So 3 reminder 3 size 3 is 0, which means we have to start a new chunk. So we have started a new chunk and push this value 5, 6, and then new chunk will start at 7. Then we'll push 7 and 8. Okay, now one thing we are doing is, if you are starting a new chunk, please check if there is a previous chunk. So before starting a new chunk, if there is a previous chunk, we'll push that into chunks. Okay, now at last here, let's say we are inserting this 8. Okay, after inserting this 8, this loop will not run again. So here at end, we have to push the previous chunk, because we are sure there will be a previous chunk. Okay, so you inserted 7, you inserted 8, but we have not inserted the previous chunk inside the chunk yet. So after completion of this for loop, we will insert that previous chunk inside the chunk. So this will be the last chunk, and we'll return the chunks here. Okay,